Hey everybody, still got the wreath. Sorry I kept you waiting. Sorry, I gotta get my chair. Sorry I kept you guys waiting for the last chapter in Molly's Beforever book. But as you know, this past weekend was a holiday, and I just really, was spending it with family and just being lazy basically. Christmas Day, my one goal was to lay around in my Christmas pajamas all day and watch stupid Hallmark Christmas movies with my mom. And believe me, I am not a Lifetime or a Hallmark Christmas movie girl, but that's what my mom likes to do. And I just felt, you know what? I need a day just to lay around in my pajamas and not do a dang thing. And that's what I did. So we're going to get into it. The Mary McIntires is the last chapter in her Beforever book. And again, like I said, this is the book that came with your Beforever doll. Before we get into it, I hope you all did have a nice holiday. Sabrina enjoyed everything she got. That Florence face wash stuff. She has been washing her face every day. She has it all set up in her room. I'll have her I'll ask her if she wants to do it. Like a video for you all to show you the different face. I didn't really get makeup wise. I got her more like we got her more like lipsticks, things like that, lip gloss. But I did try to get the whole facial wash, cleanser, toner, moisturizer, mask of the Florence product. So I'll see if she wants to do something, show you guys her setup. And the Monster High stuff she loves. She loves the Monster High doll that she got. So the Ugg boots, I was worried she wouldn't like the Ugg boots, but she did. She just had a really good holiday. We all had a really good holiday. Her and her dad went to Tractor Supply, and if you saw that horrible Black Friday video, Shop With Me at Tractor Supply, you saw all the farmhouse stuff that I saw. They ended up getting me the metal rooster and the sugar cookie candle that I wanted, and some wax melts that are sugar and pear. Oh, the whole house yesterday smelled divine. I had left and came back, and it was just beautiful. Also, I'm wearing my my little piggies. I have the Timu hair ties. Like I said, this will get into it. And so we have the last one, Molly, a winning spirit. This is the book that comes with your Beforever Molly. The Mary McIntires, Chapter 12. Keeping Dad's secret did not get any easier for Molly. She was jittery all day Saturday. After breakfast, when Brad rushed into the garage to get his sled, Molly planted herself like a guard at the bottom of the stairs to the storage room. Jill rolled her eyes at her and hissed, "Move away." Molly wouldn't budge. What if Brad wanted to go to the storage room? What if he saw the box? But Brad was interested only in his sled. He didn't even notice Molly. There was another alarm after lunch when Ricky went to the garage to get a snow shovel. Molly hovered around him so much that Ricky finally gave her a shovel and told her to help out. Molly didn't mind shoveling the driveway. At least she could keep an eye on the garage without looking suspicious that way. By the end of the day, Molly was exhausted. This secret-keeping business was hard work, and there was still one whole day to get through. One more nerve-wracking day until she and Jill could reveal the surprise. The next day was Christmas Eve. Molly was on pins and needles all morning. Luckily, Mom was up in her room until noon, wrapping presents. She couldn't see the garage from there, and Ricky and Brad built a snow fort in the front yard. They spent the morning cheerfully bombarding each other with snowballs. At last, it was time for everyone to get ready to go to church for the Christmas Eve service. As Molly put on her special green velvet Christmas dress, she felt relieved. The secret would be safe while they were all at church. Molly loved the Christmas Eve service. The church was decorated with red and white poinsettias and garlands of pine and holly. A dark manger scene filled the front of the church. Everyone was given a small white candle to hold. The flames of Molly's candle flickered and danced as she listened to the words of the Christmas story. And suddenly there was an angel, a multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, on earth peace, goodwill toward men. Molly knew everyone in her family was thinking of Dad and hoping his Christmas was truly bringing peace on earth so that he could come home. Maybe next Christmas Dad will be here with us, thought Molly. She remembered how his deep voice sang out, "Silent night, holy night." Molly looked down the pew. She saw a tear caught like a tiny diamond in the corner of her mother's eye, shining in the light of the candle. Molly bit her lip. Maybe we should have told her about the box, she thought. Maybe then she wouldn't be so sad. But when they walked home from church, Mom seemed happy. Their neighbors called out "Merry Christmas," were warm in the snappy cold night. They had the traditional Christmas Eve supper of scrambled eggs, bacon, hot chocolate, and cinnamon toast before they hung their stockings on the mantel. Mom read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" just as Dad read it every year. They all knew that the last line of the poem was their signal to go to bed. So everyone stood up and said with Mom, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Then they ran up the stairs to their rooms and jumped into bed. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Molly's heart thudded with every tick of the clock. She was waiting for it to be midnight. At midnight, she and Jill would perform their secret mission. They would put Dad's box under the Christmas tree. Molly opened her eyes very wide. Her room was solid dark, filled corner to corner with blackness. She rolled over on her side and looked at her glow-in-the-dark clock for the millionth time. Only 4 minutes to go. She couldn't wait any longer. She sat up. Did her bed always creak so loudly? Slowly, carefully, she stood up and tiptoed to the door. Slowly, carefully, she opened it. Bam! A white shape bumped into her. Molly grabbed the white shape, giggling. It was Jill. She put her fingers up to her lips to signal no talking. Molly put her slippers on her feet, and they both went into the hallway. They felt their way down the stairs in absolute darkness, putting 2 feet on each step like unsteady babies. Molly didn't even breathe until they got into the kitchen. Jill headed to the closet to get her jacket. Molly grabbed her arm and whispered, "No, too noisy." All of a sudden, she felt sort of wobbly. She moved her hand down Jill's arm, and Jill squeezed it. Molly felt better. She opened the back door and went outside. The cold bit her skin. Quickly, they dashed across the driveway, up the stairs, and into the storage room. "This is kind of scary, isn't it?" Molly whispered. "Oh, I think it's fun," said Jill. "It's like a ghost story." 1 second, guys. Jill headed to the closet. Oh, sorry. I had to take care of a dog. Molly shivered. "Come on, let's hurry." They carried the box down the icy steps, across the driveway, through the kitchen, and into the living room. Then put it under the tree. There were several tempting boxes that had not been there before. Molly pointed to them. "Santa Claus has been here," she said. For some reason that made both Jill and Molly burst into giggles. They grabbed pillows from the sofa and muffled their laughter. Then they finally quieted down. They crept up the stairs to bed. Jill waved goodnight outside her door. Molly waved back. Mission accomplished, thought Molly. She curled up under the covers, drowsy and happy and very, very relieved. "Mom, Mom, Mom, Mom," was the next thing Molly heard. She opened her eyes. The sun was just coming up and her room was rosy. "Mom," she heard Brad call again as he thundered down the hall. "Merry Christmas! Get up!" The McIntires had a rule that no one could go downstairs to the Christmas tree till everyone was ready. Brad banged on Jill's door, then Molly's door, then Ricky's door. When they were all gathered at the top of the stairs, Miss McIntyre smiled and said, "Okay, go ahead." Everyone stampeded down the stairs. At the door of the living room, the stampede suddenly stopped. "Hey," said Brad, "what's that big box?" Ricky pushed past him to the tree. "Mom," he squeaked, "it's from Dad. Look, it's from Dad." Miss McIntyre's face went white. "From," she whispered. She knelt down next to the box and touched the label. She looked up. It is from your father. But how?" She looked at Jill and Molly. They smiled. Miss McIntyre sat on the floor. "You too," she laughed. "Why didn't you tell us about the box?" "Dad said not to," said Molly. "Look." She pointed to Dad's message. "Keep hidden. just like your father. Always surprises. She hugged first Jill, then Molly. Molly could feel her trembling. Well, what are we waiting for? Said Ricky. Let's open it. He tore the brown paper off the box and ripped open the lid. Oh, said Brad, look. The box was filled with green tissue paper, lumps in odd shapes and sizes. Each lump was labeled. Ricky handed them out. One for Brad, one for Jill, one for Molly, one for Mom, one for me. Brad opened his bundle in no time. A canteen, he said, and a soldier's hat. I guess Santa asked Dad to get them. Ricky had a silk scarf made from a genuine parachute, the kind real pilots wore. Jill had a heather-colored skating hat. Much nicer than Dolores', she said with satisfaction. Mom had buttery, smooth leather gloves. She slid her hands into the gloves and smiled as she pulled out a small white note. She seemed too happy to say anything. Oh, look, cried Molly. Everyone knelt around her as she lifted her gift out of its rustling tissue paper. It was a beautiful doll with dark, shiny hair and smiling blue eyes. Molly touched the doll's hair with one finger and traced the curve of her pink cheek. She was dressed in a nurse's uniform and hat, like the one Molly had dreamed about. A smart red cape covered her starched dress and tied around her chin. Molly hugged her. This doll would be her companion in adventures, the secret sharer of all her dreams. When she played with her, Molly would always remember that Dad had chosen this doll for her. Even though he was far away, he still knew what would make Molly the happiest girl in the world. If only Dad could be there with them to see how happy his surprise had made them all. Well, said Mrs. McIntire suddenly, what time do you think it is? It's exactly 7:03, said Ricky, who never took off his watch. Miss McIntire glanced at the white note in her hand, then put it in her bathrobe pocket. Let's turn on the radio, she said. We can listen to the Christmas show while we open the rest of our presents. Ricky flicked on the radio. Christmas music filled the room. Joy to the world, the singer sang. The music was drowned out with whoops of delight as Brad and Ricky, Jill and Molly opened their presents after present. Molly was glad to see that not all the presents she got were very practical. Jill gave her a glass ball filled with snowflakes when she shook it, and Brad gave her a corsage he made out of pine cones and red ribbon. All too soon, all the presents were unwrapped. Molly sat in a sea of crumbled wrapping paper, eating Christmas coffee cake. Brad insisted on drinking his juice out of his canteen. Ricky flung his scarf around his neck and pretended that he was the voice on the radio singing, May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Then a scratchy voice on the radio said, Merry Christmas. We're broadcasting from the USO Christmas party in England, and we have some servicemen here with messages for the folks back home. Here's a Negro fella. What's your name, Captain? I'm Captain James McIntire, said a familiar voice. They all stopped still and looked at the radio. I'd like to say Merry Christmas to all the Merry McIntires, Jill, Ricky, Molly, Brad, and my wife, Helen. Molly held her doll very tight. I miss you all very much, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, full of happy surprises. And that was all. Other soldiers spoke, but Molly didn't hear them. She kept the echo of Dad's voice. She never wanted it to fade. Dad. What he said was still there. There were always surprises at Christmas. The end. In the back of the original American Girl doll books, they had a part called This is Inside Molly's World. And it talks about, when Molly's story, kind of a wrap-up of the story, what children were doing then and there, in Molly's time. So it's really nice to compare. There is a second story to this called Stars and Stripes Forever. I will try to find it so we can carry on the Beforever books. I don't know if you remember I said that the Beforever books are abridged versions of the original books that came with the American Girl dolls. You had the meat book, the birthday book, the winter book, I said the meat book, the birthday book, the winter book, and a change book. And there was a fifth book. Man, that I don't remember. Maybe a summer book. I don't remember. Anyways, guys, um, I will maybe later on we'll go through the other part about in Molly's world once we get it all done. But I'm glad that you came along with me on this journey. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And we love you all. We appreciate you all. We did get a little bit of a white Christmas. We have a little bit of a dusting of snow. It'll probably be gone by noon today. We're supposed to get in the 40s. But Happy New Year to you all. May you find peace and joy. And remember to subscribe, like, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, all.